December 16, 1942. 1:30 a.m. Over the blacked-out fields of Cambridgeshire, England. The engine of the Focke-Wulf bomber growls like a beast in the night, cutting through the freezing air. Inside the cramped fuselage, Eddie Chapman crouches by the open hatch, wind whipping at his face, his heart slamming against his ribs like a safecracker's hammer. He's dressed like any ordinary Englishman, tweed suit, overcoat, hat pulled low, but the wireless set strapped to his leg, the pistol in his pocket, and the cyanide capsule tucked in his cheek tell a different story. Nazi spy gear. One wrong move, and it's all over. The German pilot shouts something over the roar, time to jump. Eddie nods, swallows hard. The ground below is a shadow, invisible in the blackout. He could land in a tree, a river, break his neck. Or worse, get spotted by Home Guard patrols. He leaps. The parachute jerks open with a crack, yanking him upward like a puppet on strings. Freezing wind rushes past, biting through his clothes. He's falling, controlled, but falling, back to the country he betrayed. Or did he? As the earth rushes up, Eddie's mind races. How the hell did a Soho safecracker end up here, playing double games with the Nazis? Flashback. November 16, 1914. Burnopfield, County Durham. A cold, gritty mining town where the air smells of coal dust and despair. Eddie Chapman enters the world kicking and screaming, the first of 3 kids to a boozy ex-marine engineer turned pub landlord. His old man runs a dive in Roker, where fists fly as often as pints. Discipline. Forget it. Eddie's family is chaos incarnate, his folks too busy fighting or drinking to notice him skipping school, sneaking into flickers at the local cinema, dreaming of flash cars and easy money. He's smart, the teachers say, but wild. By 17, he's enlisted in the Coldstream Guards, craving the structure, the uniform that turns heads in Soho clubs. Guarding the Tower of London feels like a lark at first, polished boots, sharp drills. But boredom sets in like rot. 6 days leave turns into desertion when he meets a girl, vanishes into London's underbelly. They catch him, of course. 84 days in Aldershot's glasshouse, military prison, breaks something in him. Dishonorable discharge. Back on the streets, he's scraping by as a barman, a film extra, anything. But gambling debts pile up, the taste for champagne on a beer budget. Fraud follows, forged checks, petty scams. First stretch, 2 months in Wormwood Scrubs. It hardens him. Out, he falls in with the West End gangs. The Jelly Gang, they call themselves. Gelignite experts, sticky explosive that blows safes like popping champagne corks. Eddie's a natural, cool under pressure, fingers steady as a surgeon's. One night in 1937, London. Edgware Road. Eddie poses as a Metropolitan Waterboard inspector, complete with fake badge and toolkit. He chats up the homeowner, gains entry, then drills through the wall into the jeweler's next door. The safe's heavy, but they haul it to Jimmy Hunt's garage in St. Luke's Mews. Gelignite in the seams. Boom. Cash and gems spill out like confetti. It's a rush. The fear, the precision, the payoff. But Scotland Yard's closing in. Cut back. December 16, 1942. Eddie's boots hit English soil with a thud that echoes in his chest. He lands in a muddy field near Littleport, miles off target. The parachute billows around him like a ghost. Quick, bury it, hide the evidence. His hands shake as he shovels dirt with bare fingers, the cold earth clinging like guilt. He's got orders: sabotage the de Havilland factory in Hatfield. Blow up the Mosquito production line, those wooden wonders that are shredding Luftwaffe fighters. The Nazis gave him explosives, a wireless to report back, even 1,000 quid in crisp notes. But Eddie's no fool. He knows the game's rigged. One transmission, and the Brits could triangulate him. Or the Germans might double-cross him anyway. He stumbles through the dark, breath fogging the air, toward the nearest farmhouse. Pounds on the door. A sleepy farmer answers, shotgun in hand. "I'm a German spy," Eddie blurts. "Take me to the police." The farmer's eyes widen. This is it, life or death. If the Brits don't believe him, it's the noose for treason. Back to the past. 1938. Edinburgh. The Jelly Gang's biggest score, the Cooperative Society headquarters. Jellig Knight rips the safe open, thousands in payroll. But Eddie's sloppy, leaves prints. Arrested, bailed, he flees to Jersey, the Channel Islands. Paradise for a crook, sunny beaches, lax laws. He's living high with his girl, Betty Farmer. Fiancé, lover, the one good thing in his mess. Dinner at the Hotel de la Plage. Eddie spots the coppers, plain clothes, but obvious. He bolts through a closed window, glass shattering, diners screaming. That night, desperate, he burgles a nightclub. Amateur job, fingerprints everywhere. Cops nab him. 2 years in Jersey prison. Could have been worse on the mainland. Then, June 1940. The world flips. Nazis storm the Channel Islands, first British soil they take. Swastikas fly over Street Hellier. Eddie's cellmate, Anthony Faramus, a petty thief like him. They hatch a plan, offer services to the Jerrys. Spy for them, get off this rock. A letter in broken German to the commandant. It works, sort of. They're shipped to Fort de Romainville in Paris, a grim bastion of stone and despair. There, in the damp cells, Eddie meets his fate. Captain Stefan von Groening, a Bwer spymaster. Suave, aristocratic, von Groening sizes him up. You hate the British, ja? Prison broke you. Work for us. Eddie plays along. Anything to get out. But deep down, he's scheming. Loyalty? To himself. Present. December 16, 1942. Dawn breaking gray over Cambridgeshire. Eddie's in cuffs, bundled into a police car. The farmer's wife brews tea, but he's too wired to drink. MI5, he demands. Get me to the spooks. I've got intel that'll blow your minds. The cops laugh, another crank. But something in his eyes, the German accent on his gear, rings true. They drive him to the station, then London. Latchmere House, Camp 020. Interrogation Central. Tinny Neeson huts, barbed wire, the smell of damp wool and fear sweat. Major Tommy Tar Robertson greets him, MI5's double-cross kingpin. Skeptical eyes behind spectacles. Prove it, Chapman. Or it's the gallows. Eddie spills, training in Nantes, the de Havilland job, von Groening's codes. MI5 checks ultra-intercepts. Yes, they knew a Fritzchen was coming. But can they trust this crook? Flashback. Summer 1942. La Bretonnière-la-Claye, near Nantes, France. German spy school in a chateau, wine cellars turned classrooms. Eddie's Fritzchen now, Little Fritz. Von Groening's protégé. Days blur, explosives handling, Jellignit's old hat, but plastic charges are new. Radio ops, tapping Morse in a stuffy room, sweat dripping. Parachute jumps from rickety towers, wind knocking the breath out. Von Groening's paternal, shares cognac, talks philosophy. The war's a game, Edward. Play it well. But Eddie's watching, learning weak spots. The cyanide capsule? He pockets it, vows never to use. They equip him, wireless in a suitcase, invisible ink, cash. Mission, Hatfield. Disrupt the mosquitoes, fast bombers hammering the Reich. Eddie nods, smiles. Inside, turmoil. Betray Britain? Or play both sides? Back to Latchmere. Days stretch into weeks. Interrogations grind on, truth serum threats, sleep deprivation. Eddie's charm shines, Cockney wit, Safecracker stories. He wins over Ronnie Reed, his handler, ex-BBC engineer, soft-spoken but sharp. Call me Zigzag, Reed says. Code for his flip-flopping loyalties. MI5's plan, turn the sabotage fake. Use Eddie to feed lies back to Berlin. But one slip, and the whole XX system, double-cross network, crumbles. Agents hanged, secrets lost. Eddie agrees. Freedom, cash, a pardon for old crimes. But the fear gnaws. What if von Groening smells the rat? January 1943. London under blackout. Eddie's holed up in a safe house, wireless crackling. He taps out messages, arrival safe, recon underway. Berlin bites. Now, the big one, the factory hit. January 29, 1943. Night. Hatfield. De Havilland plant hums with wartime frenzy, workers welding wooden fuselages, the air thick with sawdust and glue. Eddie sneaks in with MI5 stage crew, camouflage experts, explosives dummies. They plant charges, harmless flashes. Boom, controlled blasts light the sky, but no real damage. Hangars rigged with tarps, debris scattered artfully. Morning after, Daily Express screams, sabotage at aircraft factory. Photos staged. German recon planes buzz over. Will they buy it? Eddie transmits success. Berlin jubilant. But doubt creeps in his gut. As the wireless beeps acknowledgement, Eddie stares into the dark. Von Groening wants him back. Lisbon rendezvous. But crossing occupied Europe? One wrong word, and he's dead. The game's just heating up. And Eddie's walking the razor's edge. March 2nd, 1943. 11:45 p.m. Aboard the merchant ship City of Lancaster, rolling through the black Atlantic swells off the coast of neutral Portugal. Eddie Chapman, now Hugh Anson, ordinary seaman, huddles in the coal bunker, the air thick with dust that coats his lungs like tar. His hands, black with grime, clutch two small bombs disguised as lumps of coal. German engineering, timed fuses, enough to rip a hole in the hull, send the ship and its crew to the bottom. The engines thrum below, vibrating through his bones. One wrong jostle, and boom, accidental detonation. He wipes sweat from his brow, eyes darting in the dim light. This is Operation Damp Squib. Fake another sabotage, convince the Jerrys he's their man. But the captain knows the score. MI5's briefed him. Eddie hands over the bombs, safe now. The ship docks in Lisbon tomorrow. Neutral ground, swarming with spies. One slip in his story, and Von Groening's boys will sniff the double-cross. As the waves crash against the hull, Eddie's mind drifts. How deep is he in? Playing hero or just surviving? Flashback. Early 1943. London. Safe house on Hendon Way. Eddie's pacing, wireless silent. The fake de Havilland blast worked, Berlin's ecstatic, Iron Cross promised. But they want him extracted. No U-boat, though. Too risky. Go to Lisbon, the message crackles. Contact embassy. MI5 jumps. Perfect chance to feed more lies. But Eddie's wary. What if they torture me, he asks Reed. The handler smiles thinly. We'll prep you. Days of mock interrogations at Camp 020. Beatings simulated, questions hammered. Why no real damage? Why the delay? Eddie hones his alibis. Bad weather, tight security. They even rough him up for authenticity, bruises to show. Meanwhile, his personal life's a tangle. Frida Stevenson, his fiancée back home, pregnant with his kid. MI5's paying her bills, keeping her quiet. And in Norway. No, that's later. For now, Betty Farmer lingers in his thoughts, the Jersey girl he left behind. Present. March 3, 1943. Lisbon's docks bustle under a hazy sun. Trams clang, vendors hawk fish, the air salty and alive. Eddie slips away from the crew, heart pounding. German embassy on Rua do Pau de Bandeira. He knocks, whispers the code phrase. Inside, cool marble halls. A handler eyes him suspiciously. Fritzchen. Prove it. Eddie recounts the sabotage, shows scars from the British interrogation. They buy it. Partly. Wire Berlin for confirmation. Von Groening arrives days later, dapper in civilian suit, cigar in hand. Edward, my boy. Hugs like a father. But the eyes probe. Dinner at a seaside tavern. Port wine, grilled sardines. Tell me everything. Eddie spins the yarn. Parachute mishap, factory recon, the blast. Omits the MI5 bit, of course. Von Groening nods, but tension simmers. You did well. Now, to Oslo. Debrief properly. Oslo. Occupied Norway. Deeper into the lion's den. Eddie's gut twists. Refuse, and it's suspicion. Agree, and he's trapped. Back to the past. 1941. Nantes, France. Abwehr training intensifies. Von Groening's not just a handler, he's a mentor. Evenings in the Chateau Library, discussing Nietzsche, sipping brandy. War is deception, Edward. But loyalty? That's rare. Eddie's loyal to no one but himself. Yet von Groening's charm wears him down. The Germans from old Prussian stock lost a son in the trenches. I see potential in you, he says. More than a crook. Training, sabotage drills, wiring explosives to bridges, factories. Radio codes memorized till his head aches. Parachute drops over French fields, wind howling, ground slamming up. One night, a test. Infiltrate a mock target. Eddie succeeds, but von Groening warns, the British are clever. They're double agents. Deadly. Prophetic. Present. April 1943. Oslo, Norway. Snow blankets the streets, fjords glinting under pale sun. Eddie's at the German spy school, Ritz Hotel repurposed, agents milling like shadows. He's teaching now, safe-cracking tips, evasion tactics. But secretly, he's snapping photos, hidden camera in his cigarette case. German operatives' faces, documents. If he gets back to Britain, von Groening debriefs him in a wood-paneled office. The factory hit. Brilliant. Awards pour in, 110,000 Reichsmarks, a yacht, even an Iron Cross. First Englishman since 1871. Eddie pins it on, chest swelling despite himself. Oberleutnant rank in the Wehrmacht. Absurd. But life's good. Parties, women. He meets Dagmar Lallem, stunning Norwegian, resistance ties. She thinks he's Jerry. He confesses, I'm British. They team up, gathering intel on troop movements, U-boat pens. Risky. One whisper to the Gestapo, and it's over. Bullets or worse. As spring thaws the ice, von Groening proposes another mission. Back to England. V weapons intel. Eddie's trapped. Agree, or arouse doubt. Flashback. Late 1942. Camp 020. MI5's double-cross system, XX Committee, runs the show. Tar Robertson oversees, turning Abwehr agents like flies. We control their spies, he boasts. Feed 'em rubbish, protect Ultra. Eddie's part of it now. But he's volatile, drinks too much, chases skirts. Reed worries, stay focused, Zigzag. Personal stakes rise. Frida's baby born January 1943. Suzanne. Eddie's a dad, but distant. MI5 arranges visits, but war's a wall. Present. June 28, 1944. Midnight. Over Cambridgeshire again. Eddie's second drop. Luftwaffe plane this time, engines droning low. Parachute snaps open, wind fiercer than before. D-Day's happened, Normandy beaches bloodied, Allies pushing. But V-1 buzz bombs rain on London, doodlebugs screaming death. He lands hard, twists an ankle. Buries the chute, limps to a phone box. Calls MI5, Zigzag's back. Safe house reunion, Reed claps his back. Good show. New mission, mislead on V-1 impacts. Tell Berlin they're overshooting, hitting central London, when they're undershooting into suburbs. Adjust aim, save lives. Eddie transmits daily, coordinates fudged, reports exaggerated. Hits on Whitehall, he lies, while bombs crater Kent fields. But boredom bites. He dopes greyhounds for races, wins big. Hangs with old Soho crooks. MI5 fumes. You're blowing cover. November 2nd, 1944. Dismissal. War's winding down, Reed says. £6,000, pardon for crimes. Keep the German cash. Eddie's free. But is he? Post-war shadows loom. What now for a double agent? Back to the past. 1943. Norway interlude. Dagmar's apartment. Fire crackling. She risks everything, smuggling notes to resistance. Why trust me? Eddie asks. Because you're not like them, she whispers. Love blooms in secrecy. But Frida waits in England. 2 lives, 2 women. Guilt gnaws. Von Groening suspects nothing, treats Dagmar like family. Yacht parties on the Oslofjord, champagne flowing. Eddie's playing house in hell. Present. 1945. London. VE Day crowd surge, flags waving, bells pealing. Eddie's in the throng, anonymous. No heroes welcome, just a quiet pardon. He marries Betty Farmer in 1954, his Jersey flame. Daughter Suzanne grows up. But old habits die hard. Gold smuggling in 1950, memoirs serialized in France, Official Secrets Act charges. Fined £50. Books follow, the Eddie Chapman story, ghostwriting for others. Shenley Lodge Health Farm, Irish Castle, trappings of success. Von Groening visits, old foes turned friends. Attends Suzanne's wedding. But the thrill's gone. Heart failure claims him December 11, 1997. St. Albans hospital bed, Betty by his side. Eddie Chapman, crook, spy, survivor. But in the quiet moments, he wonders, was it all a con? Dagmar's fate haunts. Imprisoned post-war for collaboration, 6 months hard time. They meet once in 1994, ghosts of what if. The razor's edge never dulls. Even in death, the double game echoes.